the people who think, why is an influencer getting an acting job?
Sahiba the influencer.
That's going to be the title of this podcast.
I do not believe I'm an influencer. This advice, at this moment you should have done the Okay, I'll ask you a few questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Sahiba the anchor.
Are you Cancerian?
No.
Are you born in the second half of the year?
No.
Are you a Leo?
No, I take 11 guesses and then I...
What's your sun sign?
What do you think I am?
And what do you think I am?
See, the input was very wrong.
मेरी गलती. I'm the problem.
ये तो गलत बात. कोई तो कहीं से झूठ बोल रहा है.
That's something that's on the cards soon.
So when somebody's asked me this question, like, can you think with this person you can spend the next 40 years every day of your life? I'm like, maybe not. Sports happened, Shark Tank happened. I was doing Shark Tank, the dates were clashing, and then I was told that Star Sports called and said, ad with Veer Das, you're doing it. Laila Majnu, when we did, we had, because when life hits me, I don't want to deal with life. I'd rather be busy.
What was the last relationship you were in?
Sahiba in that moment would probably be broken.
Only $30,000.
Especially India versus Pakistan.
Never seen that atmosphere in my life.
And that was a beautiful game also.
Yeah.
Never seen
What a
that
game.
atmosphere in my life.
Wow. I mean, that was World Cup. Maybe Champions Trophy, India versus Pakistan will happen, but won't be the same.
Huh.
World Cup vibes are also different now.
I know, World Cup vibes
Yeah.
very different.
You were abhi in Australia.
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was for BGT, which is our most crucial test series ever. And we lost miserably. We were horrible. But it was great because chilled a lot with the team, did a lot of fun work, and the atmosphere there was also crazy. And a very good time to be in Australia because it's summer. And the summer is like hardly summer. It's like the nice summer. And spent New Year's there also, so it's good.
In Melbourne?
Melbourne and Sydney both.
New Year's पे करते क्या लोग वहाँ पे?
वो सिडनी में हार्बर ब्रिज पे वो एकदम न्यू ईयर शो होता है with firecrackers and stuff across the water and opera house. It's very nice.
And what's your crew when you go to these places? Like you go with people you know, or you just meet people there?
No, meet colleagues. Half of them are like Irfan, Bhaji and all, and producers. And then made a lot of friends with the cricketers, so chilled with them. So good crew.
That's amazing, dude.
Fun life.
You're just speaking language that makes me so happy.
This is why I think he'll move back very soon.
You should. I think the opportunities in India is crazy and it's
Yeah.
growing, and it's always better to be where it's growing rather than it's already grown.
Yeah. That and his love for sports. I think he'll do a lot more things related to sports here than he is over there.
Sure, you should, 100%.
आपसे थोड़ा और बात करना.
Yeah. अब तो Jio Star has also merged. So वहाँ पे भी openings 100% होंगी. Because now there is only one giant.
That's true.
Yeah.
You've done some serious amount of stuff though in media and entertainment.
Yeah.
And आपका for you that just presented itself, no, at some point.
I don't plan. I've stopped planning because whenever I plan, it fails. So what I want to do doesn't happen. What I haven't thought of doing happens.
Examples?
Like acting is something that I try and like I'm very wholeheartedly pursuing.
Yeah.
But acting, I might audition 100 times and that gets converted like 2-3 projects. So what I want to do doesn't. But things that I have completely blindsided, like sports happened, Shark Tank happened, anything or everything that just randomly happens. वो तो plan में ही नहीं था.
How did that change your approach to all of these things? Because generally, like, people have these goals, they'll go after something, and people find it really hard to just, give up that control and just go with the flow. Like, opportunities present themselves, like, I'm open to it, let's just do it. How did that transition happen for you?
I think that has happened since childhood only because it's very strange. My parents, when I used to eat food and if I was finicky, they always used to tell me, if you don't try it, you won't know. And that was just, stayed with me throughout for food. Like whenever I used to travel, I would always think, I don't know how it tastes, I shouldn't say no to it, let me just try it. If I don't like it, I'll spit it out. I think that just translated to everything I've done in my life. And it's actually that. What's the worst that can happen? If I give it a shot, it doesn't work, I'll quit, or I'll leave it, or I won't do a second season, or I can always leave. Nobody has bounded you to anything. And if it works out, then it's great. So I think that is the attitude that I've suddenly started pursuing, but also some things that I know I want to do. So for those things, I will say no. Like a lot of times, I get a lot of collaborations or work or ads for. Abhi mujhe aaya hai Fair and Glow. नहीं Fair and Glow नहीं, Glow and Lovely. And
Fair and Lovely? Glow and Lovely?
now I changed it to Glow and Lovely because
Oh,
Fair
acha,
is-
fair. Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
So now I know those things I'm not going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they pay you or like pan parag and supari and stuff like that, there's some things that like morally I just don't want to do. Or like television I never wanted to get into. So some things are a no, but things that are not a no is worth a shot.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's a healthy attitude to have.
Till a certain time, because you only like age is a big factor in all of this. Like if I get married, or if I have a family, or if I'm responsible for other people, then yes, of course you have to think about a lot of stuff. I'm only responsible for myself right now, so it's a sweet spot.
Is that something that's on the cards soon?
Eventually, yeah, my parents.
The whisper.
Every time I come home, today morning, yesterday night, and also the thing is, all my best friends are getting married. Everyone. So the people my family has seen grown up, like my sisters and my brothers are getting married. So they were like, "Sabki shaadi ho rahi hai, now you also have to." The clock is ticking. But yeah, of course, I'm not the person who is like, "No, I don't want to get married. No, I don't want to have kids." I do, but in the right time.
Fair.
That's like I feel like growing up in Indian households, the pressure will find its way. It'll just fizzle into conversations when you least expect it. you
Yeah,
know? And I'll be like, we weren't even talking about girls right now. How have you brought this up?
Exactly, you know,
From
like,
where?
oh my god, there are boys in the life. Oh my god, this party had a boy who dropped you, who's downstairs, who you walking with, and suddenly devote your life to a man. Have children. When did this switch come? I don't. And the thing is, the want to get married is so intense, but if you still have a boyfriend and you're going for dinner with them, you're like, you know, it's like, what do you want? Like, this perception is so different.
Let's I want to turn the page back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because your journey's been quite interesting. You went for your master's, you graduated, you decided to work at Zomato, you worked at an academy, and now, of course, your life has taken an entirely different turn.
Yeah.
But in those moments where you were at Zomato, where you were at an academy, when you were all in on that work, did you have any intention of visualizing your life to where it is now, and how that has changed?
Zero, actually, none, because at that time when I was working in corporate, my goal was to become CMO in the next 3-4 years. My goal was to be the youngest CMO in the industry, and that too a girl, because there were very few. So that was the goal, and that was what I was envisioning. So this life of mine was something that I hadn't manifested nor envisioned. Like it didn't happen. But I always, this Pandit once, like years ago, I don't know where I went to him, or maybe my nani took me or something. He had once said that this girl is going to become famous. And that time I never thought because of acting or of digital. That time digital wasn't even there. So famous could be for any reason. And my nani said, agar famous hoegi to for good reasons, never for the bad reasons. I remember this day so vividly. And now that I think about it, maybe like, I don't know if destiny had a different plan or what it is. But I don't think I had control over this. Like at all. I hadn't envisioned it. But once when I left corporate, I left because so many opportunities started presenting themselves, which I couldn't take out time for if I was in a 9-to-5 constantly. And I was managing all my acting while I was in corporate, but then other opportunities I couldn't, because it's not fair. Then I can't give 100% to my job. So when I left, I was shit scared. Everyone around me was also like, are you sure? Because you're leaving comfort, you're leaving like something that is very stable, like a stable life, for something that is completely a question mark. But I'm glad I did. Like I'm happy. I manage my own time at my own will, so it's good.
Do you believe in destiny?
I have started to. Yeah. I have become more spiritual also. As a kid, I didn't believe in any of this. I just thought it was rubbish, and you are your master of your own will and you control everything. And when my nani or anyone in my family would talk to astrologer or tarot reader, I would call bullshit. But now I have become that person. I'm like, there is something, I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
for sure there is something. And I'm
Interesting.
happy that there's no control over certain things of life, because then life would be very boring and then there's so much responsibility and सब कुछ तुम ही कर रहे हो. So ठीक है. Just leave it to the universe is a great thing to do.
But you, like manifesting, did you start doing after you started seeing your life change the way it has, or was that something you were rooted in?
No, it's new. I'll tell you. So, BGT, the Australian Test Series with India, I was told a couple of months ago that we will consider you as the anchor to go there, as a sports anchor. And I wanted to go for the Boxing Day Test match because that's the most iconic Test match that India plays. The Boxing Day Test match. Like people, when I told people I'm going for it, I felt nazar. I felt people hating me. But I was doing Shark Tank the same time.
Yeah.
So the dates were clashing, and then I was told that there's no point going. Because I can't just go for 2-3 days. It's not a good investment. I should have covered the entire series, just not one. So it got rejected that I'm not going. But I was so hell-bent 2 months ago that every day I would text my manager saying, Australia is happening, we're going to Australia. I would tell my friends, sorry, that New Year week I'm busy, I'm going to Australia, even though I had been told I'm not going. Like, this was a fact, I wasn't going, but I chose to believe that I'm going. So every day I would text my manager saying, day 1 of telling you we're going to Australia, day 2 of telling you we're going to Australia, like on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And I would call him, I'm saying, Australia ke liye kapde tayar ho, garmi hoegi, like kept on envisioning that I'm there. And then on a week before Christmas, Star Sports called and said, you'll go for the Boxing Day match. And I was like, oh my god, what the hell, this is happening. And I remember when I was on field on the Boxing Day match, I wore the same clothes I'd envisioned 2 months ago. I was holding the same mic. I had envisioned the exact same atmosphere and I was there in that moment. So I really feel there is some merit to it. Yeah. I was so surprised that happened.
The like detail of the manifestation as well, I'm sure plays a role, right? Like
I was told, and coincidentally I was told by a cricketer only this, that the power of visualization. Like you need to not only think that this has happened to you, not that this is going to happen, this has happened. Trust that's happened, and second, visualize yourself. So I learned it then. And this is the first time it actually worked out. So, but also it's very easy to be like, oh my god, I have $1 billion, I'm envisioning my bank account like that. It won't happen like that. Like, I'm sure it has a lot of spirituality or some game to play that I don't know.
you have to be realistic also, right? Like when you're manifesting.
I feel like there's also two sides of it, na? Ek to pagalpan hai. The other is like you truly believe it, and then that belief makes you work towards it. Like you were constantly telling your manager, he must have done something. No, she really wants to go. He spoke to someone.
Exactly.
Something happened.
And
right?
I was telling Star Sports only, tell me every date.
Yeah.
Ticket, tell me. I have visa. You don't need to do visa. Like work towards it. Yeah. You'll be completely blind, like a blind believer if you're only manifesting but sitting and doing nothing about it. It has to be a mix of both. Yeah, 100%.
So you've done so many different things, like the sports anchor, Shark Tank. It's very like left field for what you had planned out, especially starting off at Zomato. When you start something new, obviously, like you don't have a lot of experience, so you're kind of starting at the bottom. You're still learning.
Yeah.
But while you're doing that, you're already so good at something else. So do you feel that imposter syndrome that kind of sinks in every now and then? They're like, oh, maybe this is not for me. I shouldn't do this. I'm not good enough for this, or something of that sort.
I'm always struggling from imposter syndrome. But I have my own podcast, and there I meet a lot of successful women in different fields. And it's very interesting. Whenever I've spoken to each one of them, there have been about 12, 13 that I've spoken to, ranging from huge business owners to sports person, actors, comedians, singers, everyone. Every single one of them have said that they suffer from imposter syndrome. Now, I don't know if it's because of you yourself or it's a thing that women really struggle with in India. Because the kind of things that you always hear in childhood or grow up with, or what's in pop culture or what's in news, is a lot of questions about how women should be, how women have been, and stuff like that. So I think that's really deep rooted in you. So I've always had imposter syndrome, thinking I'm not good enough and I have to constantly prove myself again and again. And why this happens to me now is because some people around me might question how have I reached here.
Oh, okay.
So I know for a fact it's not my self-belief, it's what I see around me that makes me think this way.
Mm.
And I think a lot of women in India go through this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy, like 100% success rate of all women saying this to me.
Yeah.
And men hardly. Because even if I got, okay, like the cricket gig, people would question that she's only got it because of XYZ reason or not because she's skilled or talented. If I got a promotion elsewhere or if my corporate life was going good because of XYZ reason, not because of me. And that kind of really sucks being a woman to hear that all the time. Not everyone says it, but then you do get questioned like that. So yeah. I 100% suffer from it.
How do you navigate that? And another thing with imposter syndrome, I do understand what you mean. When you say like women get it more, like I mean that's something very hard for me to. I mean I'll never see that firsthand, but I understand like your perspective coming from that. I think for guys, one of the reasons also where it can stem from is when you're constantly growing and doing better, you start interacting with people who are much better. And so that's why you feel like, and so it's in a sense, it's also a good thing, right? Because the people you're now working with and interacting with are getting better.
Right.
So,
you know what I figured? I think for men, it's imposter syndrome comes from there's so many more successful people, so you're always chasing.
Yeah.
And a man will always feel a little less self-sufficient because someone is always doing better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's for men, and I think for females, that syndrome comes from I am not good enough because people don't believe in me.
How they perceive you.
How they perceive you. So I'm sure everyone struggles from it, but they have their own different reasons to go through it.
How do you navigate it?
I keep telling myself, they don't know you, they don't know your journey, they don't know the truth behind it, and I don't have control over what they think. The only thing I have control over is what I do. So even when like it comes to acting, they don't know the fact that I've been auditioning since 10 years. It's been a decade of me auditioning literally every day, going and meeting casting directors. I started acting when I was 4 years old, theatre. So the people who think, why is an influencer getting an acting job? I am not an influencer. I started acting when I was 4 years old and I was in DU because of theatre, and I've done 50, 60 odd plays in my life. So they don't know all of this. But I know that I have put in all this hard work to reach where I am. So, and the people who should know. And everything I've got in my life is through hard work, because my parents are not from this industry. They have nothing to do either with sports or entertainment at all whatsoever. Dad to still want, today in the morning he said go to Cambridge, do a 6-month marketing course again. There is no need. I was like, he said no.
Yeah.
You should sharpen your axe whenever it gets blunt. I'm like, it's not blunt right now. I'm बहुत काम है, but dates नहीं है मेरे पास. It's not about your dates, but just dates. I was like, okay, so for them, like, I don't think they are so clueless about this industry, and I don't have to blame them that they don't know what all goes into it.
That's the interesting thing, right? Is in your own homes, you can see that there's this gap in the understanding of the kind of careers that we have available to us now, versus what for them it was very linear. They were either X, Y, or Z, but now we have A to Z.
Exactly.
And then some.
And still, careers that we don't know can pop up. Like AI popped up in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Digital media in my time, I'm a 90s kid. During that time, there was no digital in the early 2000s, nothing.
Itna age mat karo yaar.
Internet
It was in my time.
Social media, performance marketing, content, everything came in the last 2 decades maybe, right?
Maybe even less than that.
We've grown through all these career options. Like, what was a graphic designer? There was no graphic design.
It wasn't a concept.
Yeah, there wasn't a concept. So yeah, that's good.
How do you help your parents understand your journey? Because it's so far unique from anything that they could have imagined for their daughter, right? And same in our household, like our parents don't visualize this kind of life for us. When I put 3 cameras in front of my face, my mom dad are like, that's cool and stuff, but like you're gonna get a real job, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's very tough for parents to know, and I think I try very hard for them to see that I am working, because when I'm in Bombay, I'm working throughout. I don't sleep. In fact, today in the morning, I sat them down. I said, "These are my dates. I am traveling here, 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 and one day I'm taking the 28th of Feb, where I'm going to sleep the entire day." And I have to tell them this because my dad, when I'm home, he'll enter my room at 10:30 and said, "It's 10:30. Why are you still sleeping?" I've been working the entire week, even Saturday, Sunday. Let me please sleep. So it's tough, but I don't blame them, because I think they went through their own struggles trying to convince their parents of things they didn't understand. But the good thing is they're very proud. They know we are busy. We are very happy and content with what we are doing. It's okay if they don't understand what we are doing, as long as they know that our mental and emotional health is okay and we are safe in our livelihoods. It's fine.
You're their daughter, of course they'll worry.
Yeah, so I put my mom's story. You saw which one?
Yeah.
The other night, and my mom was cribbing about it to dad, and dad looked at me and said, "You didn't put mine, I hope." He doesn't want to be around my social media or anything. Like, he refuses. My YouTube really wants my dad. Whenever I ask, I do a poll. I do a poll saying, "What do you guys want to see? If there's something that's specific I can talk about." They all say, "We want to see your dad. We want to see your dad." He is like, "No way in hell am I coming on front of the camera to talk to you. Do whatever with mom." So yeah, he ain't going to be a part of this journey.
Fair enough, I get that, because early days in the podcast also, my mom said, "Listen, whatever you do, if you ever decide to podcast your parents individually for the pod, do not get me on. I am not coming on. I'm not having a conversation with you."
Not reserved. I think they've built so much of their own life that it's too vulnerable for them to share it with unknown people.
It's also weird, like, talking with cameras on and like everyone in the world, like that's not a concept they kind of understand.
We are so attuned to it because we've seen this now too much. And they haven't. It was really cute. My dadi, when she was still there, she used to ask me if I have any homework when I used to come back from work. I'll come back from
That's so
office.
sweet.
And she was a badass. She was a corporate lawyer, but I think at that age she was just saying, "Any homework you have from work? Are they making you work too much? You can sit here and do your homework."
It's so sweet.
Office mein khatam kar diya tha.
Because marketing as a concept at her time wasn't such a big thing either, right? It came up in the 60s and 70s. So
Marketing has evolved
too much.
far too much. I mean, I think every move that you make in life now, the extent of how well you market it or how well you sell it will play the most pivotal role.
Exactly. And I think if you talk about like what is the next 10 years of marketing, you can't answer that. Like, you don't know what's the next thing, what technology is going to come, how people are going to consume information. So it's quite exciting.
And you're constantly marketing yourself in this world as well now. You want some opportunity, you want some role, you want some job, whatever it may be.
Self-branding, personal branding is
huge now.
Is huge. Earlier people used to shy away from it. But now everyone wants to do that and less of the other traditional marketing.
I feel like there's access to so many people also now with the internet, that you can get in touch with anyone. You want a video editor online, there are so many of them. So now you only trust people based on
too many resources.
Exactly.
But I'm such
so you need to stand out.
I don't like digital too much. It's such an ironic thing to say out of all the people. I am a very analog person. So even like for things I have to do, everyone might use Notion or the Notes app on the phone or whatever. I'm using pen and paper. Like, I have a notepad and I write everything down. I still miss my old alarm clock. Like, I could manually do that. I miss my old Nokia phone, or I want to do less of digital. I want to go back in time.
I feel like the more you're on the digital things that we have now, the more disconnected you are from life in general. So you have to find a way to manage that.
Like, brain rot is a thing.
Oh, for sure.
It's a subsection of social media now.
It is huge.
It is.
It's massive. I don't like it. Like, reading a book has become tough because you need everything so fast, that instant gratification, and people are losing their patience. So at least in the flight earlier, I used to watch something or go through my phone and reply to all the things I haven't replied. So by the time I land, everyone's got their message. Now I switch off my phone, like proper, like how adults, I'm an adult, but you know how adults
full off karte hain.
I've started doing that. Now I'll read. either the newspaper or a book, but like that is the time that I started giving to slow things down.
Do you feel like this shift that's happened now with how inundated we are with stimulation and instant gratification, that standing out today has actually become easier in society?
Standing out has become, no, I think accessibility has become easier, but you also need to be extremely unique to stand out because a lot of people are doing the same thing. So for you to come out of the clutter as someone who is different is the personal branding part that people need to work on. Because, okay, for example, there are lots of podcasts, including mine, and mine is not the most successful podcast. But what is it that's different, and how are you going to make it successful is the kind of marketing you have to do for it. It's tough. It's extremely tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially with the saturation now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Like earlier, say pre-COVID, let's say lifestyle bloggers, there were a few, there were a handful in probably fashion, a handful in food. Now there is endless amount. So again, how do you stand out from the rest is...
That's true. You're doing so many different things. What's your framework of understanding a particular field, getting really good at it, getting deep into it so that you can stand out in that field?
I think it's always creating a foundation and not saying yes to anything till your foundation is created. I'll give you an example. I had the opportunity to leave my corporate job way earlier. But I wasn't ready because I wasn't really grounded in the entertainment industry till then. So till I knew that I have something to, like the opportunity cost isn't so high, I will do it. So when I started getting a lot of acting gigs or content gigs, or the entertainment industry started calling me physically to Bombay, I didn't leave the corporate job till I understood what all is there and the opportunities and if I work or not. Similarly in cricket, I actually started in 2024, my cricket gig, but I got the opportunity a year prior in 23. And that time they wanted me to do IPL that year. And I said no, I won't be able to do it, and I chickened out, even though they said we'll train you, because I didn't have the confidence in myself. So instead of jumping right in saying yeah, I will do it, I thought I'll take a year, train myself, finesse myself, figure out how this industry works, create a foundation for myself. Then next year when they called me, they did a 7-hour audition with me, but I was ready to give that audition.
Wow, okay.
The year prior, had they called me, I would be a little lost. And maybe I would have only got smaller opportunities within IPL. So that 1 year which I took to familiarize myself and create that foundation, they straight away threw me into IPL and World Cup. And proper big opportunities there. So I think, yeah, creating a base, creating a knowledge, working on the skill, and then jumping into something is important.
You don't get scared that now with how fast the world moves, that if you give up on an opportunity right now, a year later it won't exist anymore?
Oh, I'm terrified. That is the thing. I think that is a demerit and a merit. Demerit because you don't give time to yourself, or you don't give time to think, reflect, or analyze anything. You're just taking decisions. There's no thought, there is no learning, you're just taking decisions, which are very hasty. And I think that is very unfortunate. And also, people just want to know now.
That's true.
Everything just needs to be now.
Yeah.
That's why I hate digital. Like, send me an email, I will reply to you in 2 days. Suddenly calling, WhatsApping, tell me right now what you want to do. Otherwise, this opportunity is going to go.
Yeah.
This I hate. And this happens too often in at least acting and when you're working with brands. For example, on 21st, I'm going to do a ad with Veer Das. They're doing it for Hush Puppies.
Oh, nice.
But that time, there was other work also going. So my management was like, we need to know now, you want to do this or not, because they'll take someone else there. Like, shit, okay, fine. Let's do it. So you don't get time only.
Sometimes do you not feel like just getting into something without being ready is also okay, because you'll learn it
on the job? Yeah, again, but if you have nothing to lose, I think that comes from a sense of privilege. Imagine jumping onto something, but you have too many responsibilities. And you don't know how that goes, so then it becomes complicated. And that's why I always say that comes from a sense. Saying no to projects and taking chances is always a thing of privilege. And touch wood, we are happy enough to have that, but not for everyone, I guess. Because even when I moved to Bombay after my masters, when it came to acting, I would be sitting with 100 people in that audition line, but I would meet people who would, and for me, if I didn't get that project, it's okay, I can wait for the next one. But there were so many people in that line who can't, because उनको गाँव में पैसे भेजने हैं, or they have a sister who they need to get wedded, or things like that, and that was really eye-opening also for me. So yeah, if you have the choice, maybe yeah.
How is seeing so much of that, the dichotomy in the lives that we live, especially in this country, and working in the industry that you do, how's that changed your perception of people in this country?
I love India because of how diverse we are. So first of all that, because you always get to meet people, different stories, different backgrounds, different goals in life, as compared to, because you studied abroad, you meet a lot of similar people from similar backgrounds. Like there is not too much difference in their living and how they speak or their belief system.
Yeah.
India, every second person is so different. So A, I love that. B, I'm very grateful that I went to Delhi University for my undergrad, because my school and my college had people from all walks of life. Someone who could be a farmer's son to someone who is an industrialist's daughter. They were like, and from pan India, everyone. So it was great. So now I became very used to all kinds of people around me. So when I started working in Bombay, it was an eye-opening, because I knew all of these people. But I think how that changes me is treating everyone equally. I've seen people who come from different walks of life but have always lived in a bubble. So when they interact with people who are different from them, they become very different. So for me, was whoever I meet, whoever I talk to, I remain the same, and I think that's very important.
There's so much power in being able to do that. I don't think that that's something that people are born with. That's a skill that you have to learn and grow into by actually exposing yourself to the kind of things that you've been exposed to.
Exactly. So I think that also, like if you sit in Indigo Airlines, which used to have no business class, you had people from all walks, and the air hostess had to treat everyone equally. Or if you sit in the metro, my dad's been in a metro, I've been in a metro, my driver goes in a metro. So just being in that space is just like everyone's same. You're literally sitting in the same place, going to the same place. So love India for that.
Yeah. Grounds you a little bit, no? Keeps you humble.
Yeah.
It's funny because he used to live in Canada, I live in America, and every time we meet there, we talk about this and how the sense of privilege and the life that we live. There's people who would give up a hand, leg, and a kidney to just have the meals that we have.
And even abroad, even people you meet there, our life in India is far superior than their life.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
And that's why I keep on thinking that it's so comfortable living in our country. My friends who moved abroad want to eventually move back. Just because at the same amount of money, you can have 10 times a better life here.
100%. You won't have this balcony in New York.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
That in Bombay. The cost of this apartment, I'm going to get a matchbox in Bombay without a match.
Same comparison, New York, Bombay, identical.
Yeah, it is terrible. God.
Sometimes living in a matchbox teaches you things about life that nothing else can do.
Yeah.
Makes you appreciate things.
Yeah, I've learned how to appreciate life living in my little shoebox.
And it also makes you, I think, not self-sufficient, but makes you realize that you don't need so much. Makes you a little frugal in a good way. Like I used to be very, very frugal with my grocery shopping, because I was like, I don't need this. It's okay. Don't do faltu. I don't need organic. I don't need this expensive avocado. I can live without it. It's fine. So yeah, and then when I come to India, I'm like, anything and everything I'll splurge on. It's okay.
That's true. I'm a lot more liberal with food orders here also. Like over there, Uber Eats, like I'll think about it. Okay, should I order this? Oh no, this is a bit much. Like let's think about this. Over here, 5 times a day, it is what it is.
Yeah, this is what I love. The purchasing power in India is great.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain quality of life here that cannot be replicated anywhere. But again, that statement comes from a place of privilege.
100%.
Even still, if you use your privilege well, you can create that life for yourself. And
Exactly.
at that, it's just how well have you used the privilege to your benefit? And I think it's a good thing to use your privilege. It's there for you.
Yeah.
Use it.
Use it well. Use it to
Don't
help
abuse
yourself. Don't abuse it. Use it to help others as well. And I think people from privilege in India are doing a lot for others too, and creating privilege for them too. So I think that's a good space to be.
I like that you brought up you use your privilege to help others also.
Yeah.
Because that's something I've thought about a lot, and you also now do a little bit of work in education.
Yes. Education.
I've I've tried to think about, is there one problem that you can try to solve, like distill everything that's going on into just one thing to solve that'll kind of make life better for everyone as a whole. And education is kind of, I think, at the root of everything.
Yeah.
If you can truly educate people and allow them to think for themselves and be curious, a lot of the problems that we have in this world now, I think, will just be solved. And so, like, what's your experience in education been like? What do you want to do in that space? What do you envision for yourself in that space?
So, I agree with what you said. I feel like if you enable people to do anything, just enabling them to be better individuals, better at their job, better anything, is a great place to be. I think parenting is that. You enable a child to become a better adult, so in their adulthood, they're sorted. So I think for that, I just want to enable a lot of young people who blindly jump into something without knowing, like you were talking about, so that once they hit the real life road, they are well equipped to figure out stuff. Because what happens in India is, I'll give you an example of marketing. There is no marketing degree in India. There is nothing like a BSc marketing, a BA marketing, MSc marketing, nothing at all. There's only advertising, or there is communications, or there is PR.
Yes.
So that is very unfortunate, because anyone who wants to do marketing, which is a business and a science to do, has to go abroad. Or you have to do an MBA, which makes you do a lot of other things and not specialize in marketing. So that's why I wanted to create courses and talk to people and help brands and students who do not have any idea about marketing in India, of how it works once you get the job. That was the thought process. And I really hope institutes at least start a specialized marketing course in India, because it's bizarre that it's not here.
Was that the birth of things they don't teach you in business school?
It was, because they don't teach you marketing in business school. So when I started going to these places, and again, a lot of people don't know this, because after left corporate, I started working right now with a lot of brands pro bono to help them, and a lot of individuals as well. Obviously, I get a lot of inquiries. I can't help everyone, but who I feel like I can add value to them, or who can. And these are D2C brands. I don't do B2B. I don't have, and I say this, don't have enough credibility for B2B. So when I'm working with them, and I don't talk about it because some of them are competing brands, so I don't want, like, competing brands, I don't want issues there. I myself have learned so much in the last 2 years freelancing in marketing. And I realized that marketing evolves so much that our business schools are very dated when it comes to marketing in specific. Like my book Abroad also was written in the 1980s, written in the 1990s. And then you have professors who are teaching you how things have worked, how global marketing has worked, but India doesn't have that. There are, of course, courses like a Google would give or Coursera will give about digital marketing, but a solid university is not. So that's where I really want to lead with this.
Do you think that also plays a role in the fundamental education system that this country has, not only from a college perspective, but what needs to shift in the way that people are being taught in school, and what kind of things should people be learning in schools now that are going to be very, very important in the next 10-20 years that they aren't being taught?
But I think some of the universities are doing that. ISB, your IIMs, Ashoka University, like a lot of universities have acknowledged that, and their entire base is based on practical learning, which is great. And then they get professors from abroad, they get professors, the industry giants coming and talking. So I think we are going in that direction. But the curriculum, the theory and everything needs to at least be 50% practical, for sure. Because once you come into the job, you realize that जो मैंने पढ़ा है वो बहुत ही basic पढ़ा है और मैं नहीं use करने वाला. And when you learn most of your things in the job. At least 90% of all my learning has been because of office.
It's very interesting for me to talk to people outside of tech about these things.
Yeah.
Because for me, everything that I did in school was at a much higher level than what I do in my job.
Exactly. So when it comes to specialized, I don't know how to put it, it's not vocational, but things that are very, not theoretical, that are super practical. Again, business colleges are very theoretical nowadays. The practicality is missing.
Yeah.
But the practical course like the sciences and tech is mainly that. So it's great.
Yeah.
So all the arts and all the liberal things are kind of missing this essence for sure. Like coding, obviously. Like where else will you learn it? And I'm kind of jealous also. Because from day one, you're literally doing a job.
Yeah, that's so true.
In a sense, yes, that's true.
Yeah, so when you actually go into the job, you've already done a version of this already.
Yeah.
So it's good. While a liberal arts person has no idea. Sadly.
Yeah, that's a little more abstract, I guess.
Yeah, like please teach us taxes also. Because it doesn't mean what educational degree you're doing, like practical stuff like this matter.
If any tax accountant is watching this, I need your help.
I am also always completely clueless. I'm messing around with my advanced taxes. फिर पापा को फोन आता है डांट पड़ती है. You're not responsible enough to handle your own money.
मुझे थोड़ा I want to put it back a little. You spoke about perception a lot.
Yeah.
And for you, your life it's an interesting life you live because it revolves around perception in some capacity, right? You're always in the public eye, and so how you're perceived impacts your growth in your career. What's your kind of take on the way that you're publicly perceived versus how you actually want to be perceived?
It's a very good question because when I was very nascent into this industry or this world, I was very, what's the word, righteous? Saying that I will do what I want to do. I shouldn't fake it. Nobody should, think that I am someone else. I'm very comfortable in my own skin and stuff. But I realized 100% authenticity that I give, people still have a different perception of you. So I can't control even when I'm being super, super authentic, which is very sad. So, and I understand why some people, try to portray someone they're not, because on the onset only कि लोग कुछ गलत ही सोचेंगे. Let me kind of just remedy that in the beginning. So they are, even though I'm full Sahiba inside the house and outside, it is 100% me and I will never fake it. That's just a decision I've done. But there are some things that I have to do so that people don't perceive me in a way that I do not want, for sure. So, for example, I'm very politically driven, right? But my parents and my management, everyone has said, please do not talk politics. Like that is something Sahiba just don't do.
Yeah.
And I get it. Because we are in a very sensitive country and they're very powerful people, and in case I say something, hurt some sentiments, or something is perceived wrongly, it can hamper not only mine, my family's security, everything, my well-being, my livelihood, etc. So there's some things that I have to just like stay mum about or be very diplomatic. But earlier Sahiba, like 3 years ago, would say anything. Like no fear. But yeah, now I can't.
The thing with how people perceive you is also that like no one has full context of your life, right? Like they have different experiences, and so whenever they see you say something, do something, behave in any particular way, they'll only perceive it based on everything that they have seen prior in their life.
Or they've seen only 10% of your journey.
Exactly.
There are people who have followed me from the beginning. No, probably, but that's a very small number because I started maybe at 5,000 followers or something. People who've joined now have a very different perception. They haven't seen the background. So everyone will have a different perception and will think. So that's why it's so tough, because now my entire thing that annoys me a lot is people, I do not believe I'm an influencer because I do not work like an influencer. I do not have any influencer goals. It is not a career choice. Like that is something that's not in my radar ever. But I've just been perceived as one.
How does an influencer work? Like, what do you mean?
I think
don't
just
know?
because you do brand collaborations,
Acha, like that, okay.
but actors do brand collaborations, your business founders do brand collaborations. If you have a reach, you will do brand collaborations. But I'm not an influencer because I'm not a content first person only. And I'm not running behind followers, I'm not running behind engagement. So this is not in my bubble. But I'm perceived as one.
There's a very fine line as well between being an influencer and being a celebrity now. Like I think there's a very thick line between macro influencers.
Yeah.
But then between macro influencer and celebrity, there's a very thin line, especially when the kind of roles that you do in your life intersect so closely with one another.
Right.
And so that public perception is created based on, again, just the information that they have gathered.
They've gathered, exactly. So that is not there. So when somebody introduces me, hi, this is an influence, Sahiba the influence, I'm like, I am not.
Sahiba the influencer.
I'm really not.
That's going to be the title
My
of this
friends also. So my friends, if I do something that is borderline Instagram worthy, they'll be like, आगे हमारी influence. I'm like, मैं हूँ नहीं. Actor बुला लो, marketer बुला लो, मतलब YouTuber भी बुला दो चलो. But influencer तो मैं हूँ ही नहीं. And that kind of hampers, because then if I'm doing cricket, then people will say, why is an influencer doing cricket? No. An anchor is now gone. A host has gone to cricket, not an influencer. I was always an actor first. So maybe an actor is getting brand gigs, but not an influencer is not acting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all perception.
Let's talk about acting. So you've played all of these different roles. When you're playing a role for an extended period of time, you kind of become that person and become that person outside of that role also.
I think only Amir Khan. Because I've heard a lot of these things, and when he gets into the character, he's that character for like months and months, and he isolates himself and stuff. Me, no, I snap out of it right away. Yeah.
But you said something. You said acting is like living multiple lives in one lifetime.
It is.
And I mean, I guess part of that is you associate yourself so closely with the role that you're playing that it almost becomes a reality, right? Similar to what you said.
So I think it becomes a reality
For a short period.
when you're in that scale.
Yeah,
So when the
okay.
camera is rolling or when I'm on stage, in that moment I am that character and I don't feel like Sahiba, and I forget who I am in that moment. And I think that helps me a lot forgetting who I am and being in that character's skin. But as soon as you say cut or curtains draw, I am back to Sahiba. So that's why it's very interesting, because in that moment, yes, I'm playing someone else and I forget. And it's kind of crazy how the mind works, because I completely forget who I am. And in the scene, if somebody's saying something to me, I'm also perceiving what they're saying as that character, not as Sahiba. So if something that they say will hurt me or will make me cry, might not hurt or make my character cry.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, right now I just did Tanav.
Mm-hmm.
And over there's this brutal scene where like 50 people are physically assaulting me.
Mm-hmm.
So how Sahiba would react in that situation is very different from how this agent reacted in that situation. Then when I was literally mauled, my character has to come out wearing a shawl and like two men are carrying her. Sahiba in that moment would probably be broken and like cannot move. But this girl was strong enough to get up, face the men and walk away. So like in those moments, I don't know who I am. So
when you reflect on those moments afterwards, does that kind of give you a different perspective and help you grow as Sahiba? Because now you've thought of this new situation and this new problem as someone entirely different.
Actually, I learn a lot because of that ecosystem. For example, if you're shooting in Kashmir and this character is born in Kashmir, then what she must have gone through, how her upbringing would be. So it gives me a lot of knowledge about that ecosystem. It's not necessary that I learn some traits of this character that I can put in Sahiba.
Okay.
But yeah, just learning a lot. For example, I played this Pakistani agent in a show called Bard of Blood. It's on Netflix. And my co-actor was Jaideep Alawat, who's a brilliant actor. He's just too damn good. And in that moment, in that ecosystem, he taught me a lot about life and he taught me a lot about being an actor. So I think that surrounding ecosystem adds to a lot of exposure, experiences and knowledge. not the character for me personally as much.
What has being around some of these phenomenal actors taught you about life?
So much. I think everyone comes from a different background. So Laila Majnu, when we did, we had people who were first timers on set. So Tripti, Avinash, me, the director himself, all of us were like first timers in the industry. So everyone was just learning, giving, taking, exploring. Then when I did Bard of Blood, Jaideep, brilliant actor, taught me a lot about acting. Like I learned a lot from him about how to be a better actor, like tips and tricks he had told me, which now till date I'm using. So I'm very grateful for him for that. Then he also told me like a good actor is very knowledgeable and aware of life. They read, they know people, they're very vulnerable, they're very receptive. So all these things he taught me. Then in Tanav, Manav, who plays the main lead, he told me this thing about surrendering to the universe. Again, like I told you, everyone has taught me something. So surrendering to the universe is great because as humans, you try to control everything that is like beyond. Like this is not happening. How can I fix this? Fix this. So he taught me something that's just surrender. Like let it go and see how it happens. So just love how some brilliant people have taught me a lot.
So it's, especially within your industry, it's good to be around the best because again, then your learning curve is far more exponential, right?
Yes.
Do you consider yourself a vulnerable person, or how have you grown in it?
I'm opposite. I'm an avoidant person. My personality type is avoidant. Whenever emotions come up or vulnerability comes up, I flee. Like I do not want to face any of that.
Why?
Because I I love this therapy session. I think I'm just too scared of the truth. Like I fear I'm not strong enough to hear my truth or hear someone's truth and deal with it. And I would rather just avoid it and make everything rosy and happy. Like stress stresses me out. I'm very avoidant. Like when it comes, see, that's why I think I work so much, because when life hits me, I don't want to deal with life. I'd rather be busy. So this is why relationships are very tough for me, because when emotions come, I'm like, oh my god, this is too much.
What was the last relationship you were in?
It was it was almost like a best friend relationship. You
That's
know,
nice.
someone who is your go-to, lot of banter, someone who I can actually be vulnerable with. But again, when vulnerability came, I shut off. But it was great, and I think that's what is very important. If you find a best friend and a partner, that's a great spot to be in. Like, there's no fear. Like, I could just go and just be a sloth. But also, I would I like taking. You know what the thing is? I'll tell you what the thing is. I am a super hyper independent outside home. That when I come back to someone, I want to be babied like crazy. Like, I don't want to take decisions. Don't make me work. Don't make me do these booking flights and stuff. No. वो मेरे काम में बहुत हो रहा है. Let me be. Let me just be a worm. That's what I really need in a relationship.
I feel like finding that kind of peace and that comfort is what everyone seeks and craves.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find that person that you can just be a sloth around and not feel guilty.
Not feel guilty. That guilt factor is also a lot. But then also you need to find someone, for example, if I want to be a baby at home, someone who is willing to do the hard work. If someone else also wants to be a baby, then it's not going to work out. Like, you need an adult in that room then.
If you're watching this,
So that's a tough one, finding someone who'll be like, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
wait, so you said you run away from certain things. Do you think that there's a segregation between running away from emotions but then still being able to be emotionally intelligent to do really well in your career? Or do you think that those need to intersect somewhere for you to be able to be very successful in your career?
I'm so glad I did psychology because I can answer this question.
Yes.
So my EQ is very high.
Okay.
So my emotional quotient is very high. I am very empathetic and I can help people. And if they are vulnerable in front of me, I know how to deal with that. But when I am vulnerable is when I flee. So I can't do it for myself. my vulnerability and my emotional exposure needs to be limited. But when someone else is going through it, I can deal with that. Like, I got you, it's like that. But when that's expected of me, I am gonna run.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like one of those like I can't take my own advice situations.
It is like if you're supposed to sit me down and ask me questions like why you like this, or why haven't you been talking to me, or what is disturbing you, I go into a shell. Like, I don't know how to answer those questions.
Oh, you were
But
talking about?
I can be that person asking you. Like, talk to me, I'll help you out.
वो psychology background है तो it makes sense.
That means I'm aware of the problem.
We can flip the therapy session.
Yeah. Is it similar for you guys, or am I an oddball?
I do kind of run away from. I've become a lot better at that, but
Yeah.
for a very long time, I ran away from emotion as well.
Yeah.
I'm more of a rational thinker. Like, if there is a problem, I don't want your support. I want you to help me figure out a
Oh
solution.
my god, same.
Exactly. Like, ठीक है, support कर लो. That's not getting me anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, tell me how to solve this problem, or just let me figure it out.
Yes.
You know, like all people, oh no, talk to me, or how does this make you feel? Fuck my feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't wanna talk.
let's figure this shit out.
Or I call a partner or someone and I'm ranting like this happened and this. You know what, Sahiba, you should do this. No, let me rant first. When I ask for a solution, give me a solution.
Yeah.
But don't give me advice. I don't want your advice at all. Either let me figure it out, or you give me a damn good solution and figure it out. This advice, at this moment you should have done this. No, fuck off. At all. Jesus Christ, no, not at all.
No, we were talking about this over dinner also, about advice in general. Like, why? We were talking about, I think, like some decision Rohan wants to make, and I was just reflecting on. It's very easy for me to give him advice, but it's very hard for me to give myself advice, and that's because when it comes like to give yourself advice, you have that sense of self and that ego and that like you're in the situation. Whereas like if I'm giving him advice, it's very rational, it's very categorical, because like I see it as a whole. I'm not in that situation. I'm like, this is probably your best outcome, and this is what you should
So
do
you can
for
do
it.
it for him very well.
Yes,
But for
I
yourself,
can't. It's harder
Yeah. What's your
because
sun sign?
are you really big into
I'm
astrology?
huge on zodiac.
Let's talk about it.
What do you think I am?
And what do you think I am?
No, you have to talk about yourself also. No, he spoke, so you now have to decode yourself. But let me guess.
Guess
yours.
mine.
Okay, I'll ask you a few questions. You tell
Yeah, go for it.
Sahiba the anchor.
me. Okay.
Yeah. As many as you want. Let's go.
Okay. So, how are you when you're in a relationship?
Yes.
How are you as a boyfriend? Like, what's your boyfriend personality?
It's very different from anything that my friends ever see. It's a lot more vulnerable. It's a lot more like silly.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more like protective. Like I will, like whatever is going on in your life, I will do everything I can to solve your problems.
Do you
know what I
crave
mean?
validation?
In a relationship? Oh, that's a good question. See, so I was in a relationship for 4.5 years. She was so good that I never craved validation, because she was always just so good to me that it was never a thing that was lacking. But if that didn't exist, I think I would.
Are you a Leo?
No.
Damn it. Are you Cancerian?
No.
Shit. Okay, are you born in the second half of the year?
No.
I'm so bad at this. Are you competitive?
Very.
Are you Capricorn?
No. Tell me how much you believe in this. Let's go.
I really believe. Usually I'm very good. Usually I'm very, very good. What are you then?
No, take 11 guesses and then
Piscean, Taurus or Aries, I don't know about these three too much.
Okay.
He's none of them.
I'm none of them.
You're none of them.
No.
You have two options left. Sahiba.
Aquarius?
I'm Aquarius.
Oh my god, you're nothing like my mom. My mom is Aquarius and nothing like... Oh, but
Interesting.
Aquarians are very emotional people.
Feel it deeply. I hide the
You
emotion.
hide your
I don't want to show
emotions,
it.
yeah. They're very emotional, they're very loving though. And they do seek validation. But maybe your past relationship you didn't seek validation.
Yeah, but no, I guess that's why I said that if I didn't have that, I probably would.
See, the input was very wrong. Yeah, so you're in tech, you should not get input galat hai. Pura ajeeb hi hoega na.
These astrology people, there's always an excuse. There's always an excuse.
Okay, now you have to tell me about yourself. Okay, are you an emotional person?
Very.
Very. Okay. Do you seek validation?
Reinforcement more than validation.
Ooh, तो इतना specific जा रहा है. Okay. Are you competitive?
Very.
Very competitive. Do you get angry easily?
No, I'm very patient.
You're very patient. Do you give a lot of advice?
Sometimes I think I'm more of a like I'll deal with you emotionally versus here's your solution. So he hates me.
Are you practical or emotional more?
Emotional. Getting more practical now, but fundamentally emotional being.
Okay. And are you organized or disorganized mainly?
Bang in the middle.
Just though even I don't know if you're
Actually,
organized or
organized.
disorganized.
I'm very organized at work, but then like in life, like chal raha hai to chal raha hai.
Are you needy?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're giving Cancerian traits, but it could be wrong. Are you Cancer?
Yeah.
Input was right.
Meri galti. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Okay.
Cancerian trait. I'm so proud of myself.
That was phenomenal.
I know, thank you. Thank you. This is the next career option for me. Really getting into astrology.
I love how it came back. You made the problem.
Aquarian trait.
Sahiba, you have made me so happy today. I needed this.
I'm so sorry.
You have to just be more vulnerable. I think that's what she's looking
And now I think we have to figure out what her
for.
sign is.
Yeah, figure.
No, I know nothing about the sign, so I'm following your lead.
My life is exactly how my sign is. Like, I'm the poster child of my sign.
Cancerian?
No.
Okay, I have no idea what that means
said
either. I have no idea what that means. What Cancerian means either. Oh, you're okay. So she's not you.
I'm
Okay.
not him. I'm literally the opposite of him.
I could guess it even without.
So say
I think you're a Scorpio.
No.
Oh.
Taurus,
No.
Leo,
About the Taurus, Piscean, and Aries, I don't know too much about.
Leo. What else is there?
Capricorn.
You're clearly not into zodiac.
No, I don't know.
बाकी पता ही नहीं वैसे.
मुझे तो I
I'm
don't
a
know.
Sagittarius.
Oh yeah, see that makes sense.
What a Sagittarian trait.
They can't sit in one place for too long. They crave adventure. They prioritize their freedom and independence over everything else. They want to find love, but they're scared of love. And
Oh, so you're to T. Like it
Bro,
really
T,
describes
I'm
you, huh?
telling you, poster child.
Wait, I actually want to dissect that more. Why are you scared of love? And actually, do you feel like you have a definition of what love is, or have you
No,
found that?
I don't have a definition of what love is, but I think,
Or what love feels like?
yeah. I've seen it around me. I've also felt, I think I fall in love too easily also. So that has also happened. I like taking care of people too, but it's not like I'm scared of love. I am scared of my freedom and independence being curtailed so much that I feel like if I'm in a committed relationship for too much, I'll lose myself. So that is something I need to work on because it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to be with someone who lets me be who I am, and we both just add value to each other's life. It's like that. Profound.
You're not used to this life, man.
No, but I'm just so proud that I cracked that during Cancerian in one go.
See, fucking astrologers guessed 11 for me. It was wrong. Guess 1. Oh, this is true. This is real.
Do you think that there's only one person for everyone in this world?
No, I don't think so. This is also a very good Darwin theory of evolution that as humans, like Homo sapiens are not meant for one person. As humans, like biologically, society has told us that we can only get one person, and that's how we've built our moral compass, and that's how humans are now. So I think at the core crux of it, biologically, no, I don't think, and or spiritually either, that only one person exists, but one person should exist.
Okay, so what do you think are the...
Like, sorry, I'm injecting. There's a reason I think you fall in love multiple times in a life. it might not work, it might work. Those are like superficial reasons, but your heart falls for many people, right? You are attracted to many people. That is enough validation to know that you're not meant for one person.
Interesting. But so, what do you think are the positives and negatives of polyamory versus monogamy, or whatever? You get the point.
No, that's
And
the right
so,
word, I think.
okay, because like when you're with just the one person, right? You have that sense of comfort, that support system, that validation. You have all of those things always with you. You can build a life together. There's
Yeah.
always that support. There's always that person for you. And in the polyamorous situation, you might get a lot of experiences, but then that trust, that depth of relationship, I would assume, is not really there.
Exactly.
So,
I think if you're in a polygamous relationship, or if you're a person who's in that, I feel that it's not stable long term. I think you'll always chase, and you'll always find a better person, and you'll always start comparing, and what's next. And I don't think that brings a piece of security or stability in your life. But the hindsight of it is many more experiences, enjoying maybe more adventures, or not being not being shelled with one throughout. I mean, if that's your life, that's your life. It's fine if that's your choice. But for me, my dad always said this, that you have to kiss many frogs till you find your prince. But that prince will be one person, right? And it's okay to kiss many frogs before that, because ultimately I feel for anyone, you should only settle when you know 100% this is it. The divorce rates are too high now, and marriages are crashing, and love and relationships are a lot of hard work. So meet a lot of people, make the decision when you know that this is the decision. I think when you know, you know.
that's what
I
everyone
don't
says.
know yet, so when I know, I hope I know, but
That's what I've always found interesting, because I've seen it in my sister and with my closest friends. I ask them this, is like, when people say when you know, what is it that you know? Because I don't think in my life yet I've known, and I'm perfectly
even
fine
I've
with
known,
that.
and when I've known, it didn't work out. So
ये तो गलत बात है ना, मतलब कोई तो कहीं से झूठ बोल रहा है.
no, when do you know and how do you know is a question, but then I see it in like my parents, or I see it in the friends who've just got married, and they've known, like they've told me that when you know that you can spend the next 50 years with this one person, and the question is yes, the answer is yes, that's when you know. So when somebody's asked me this question, like, can you think with this person you can spend the next 40 years every day of your life? I'm like, maybe not. Maybe 10 days a month is fine. But no, it should be all 30 days.
I think that's the interesting thing about life also, right? Like everyone is so different. There's no one size fits all for everyone.
Yeah.
Like people are attracted to different things. Some people find it early, some people find it later. Some people don't want one person, they want multiple people. Like everyone's experience is different. Some people don't want to do a lot of things like you are, and they want to do just fixate on the one thing.
There's so many people who
Depends.
don't want to get married anymore. So that is also changing.
You know, that I really think people will regret later on in life.
You spoke like a true uncle. Complete uncle.
I do think that'll be a late, because a lot of people say that also, right? Like, I don't want kids, but you're not in a relationship. Find the person you want to be with. You might change, right?
So yeah, maybe this
And
is
so-
like, don't be so rigid in that decision
Be
unless
open to it.
there is a reason that you don't. For example, my friend who doesn't want a child doesn't want the child because she hasn't ever wanted to be a mother. Like she said, मुझे mother बनना ही नहीं है. I want to have a partner and just have fun. I don't want to be a mother. Fine, I understand. That's something you don't want. Or someone who wants to adopt a child. She's fully capable of being a mother, but she's like, there's so many children, the population is too much. I'd rather adopt. I get it. But other reasons, just because right now you don't want a child, later you don't know. And this line I use a lot is, don't make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings.
Especially decisions you can't walk back.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can apply this line to literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, if I don't want a child because my life is really cool or it's very chill or I'm super busy, I can't give time to anyone, that's temporary. It's not going to happen forever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the love that you've seen with your parents has impacted how you will kind of visualize the person that you end up spending the rest of your life with?
I was having this chat with my best friend, and we were all sitting in a room, all of us, like 6 girls, and we were identifying everyone's partner. And this is so eerie. The partner has been a crazy reflection of that girl's father.
Holy shit.
You know that Oedipus and other complex, what is that? Like
Oedipus complex, yes.
women search for men, their fathers in men. I think it does have a lot of truth because you do.
Do you think guys also look for their mothers in women?
Yeah.
Traits.
I think so. Interesting.
Because guys like to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Even women do, but that motherly feeling that they've
Mhm.
grown up with, that's the definition of love. So they find that in women, like trying to find
Interesting.
women like that. But it was so eerie. Every partner of my friend has been very similar to their father. And it's very weird. It is.
Yeah.
It's like the most weird thing to seek out, right?
Exactly. But you do it subconsciously. Like, this is not something like, oh my god, I need someone who's like my father. It is completely subconscious.
How do you think that works in houses where someone's grown up without a father or without a mother?
We have a lot of.
So the
healing.
daddy issues stem from.
Yeah, a lot of issues come from because of. All issues come from parenting. All. Everything is rooted because your mind was shaped during your childhood. So, people who lack a parent or had a toxic parent or an absent parent, all of those behavior traits would come in your adulthood. Like, whatever it is. So, it sucks. Like, that's why broken households, the people have to go through so much therapy.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that we're a little bit younger, but subconsciously I have felt like I've found traits that my mother has in the girls that I've been with. And you never seek it out, but it's something that you have to reflect on and say, that matches. Like, it's interesting.
Exactly. And all my exes, or at least one or two, when we were decoding this with my friends, that how our partners are like our dads, she said that the partner who I was most close to, or I thought that this person is it, when I knew, was exactly like my dad. It didn't work out. But I was most strongly in that relationship with that person.
What, according to you, are some of the most important things to get a relationship to work out? Because, like you just said, like she knew,
If
but
I
it didn't work
knew,
out.
I'd be like
Fair enough.
happy relationships for like 5-6 years. But no, I think personally, from my experiences, I think finding a best friend and a partner is very important because everything will die out eventually. Whether it's your chemistry or the looks or traits, job, वगैरह. But to be able to come back to this person, spend the night, have lunch, and every day, I think you have to find a good balance of your best friend and like a give and take relationship. Like, best friend is very, very important. And someone who you don't need to change too much, honestly. Like, what's the point? Because then you're not dating this person, you're dating an idea of who they can become. So, and they're not that. So I think these two things.
You need that silliness and goofiness and that.
Yeah,
like,
so
घर पे आके बकचोदी करनी है,
Exactly,
you know,
like
you
banter
just
is so important.
Very
Like, even
important.
if I've like gone on dates where the person is just too nice, I'm like, no, this is too much. Why are you so nice? Also, no, like there's some banter because I'm very desi at heart. Like, I want someone to send me like very weird memes, or like I want to go and have like. At 3 a.m. if I'm craving dhaba wali chai, we'll go to a dhaba wali chai.
Yeah.
But someday if I feel like we go to Nobu and have some sushi somewhere also I want. So like just someone who is...
I feel like you've described our relationship right now. This is what we do.
That's like, you need to be with a friend for life. Yeah. So I need someone like that. And I can't do firangs.
Yeah.
Like, even if rishtes come like this NRI person who's grown up in Canada, no, like they need to be full desi.
Because of the cultural connection that you haven't grown up here. Also.
Yeah.
They don't have that.
They don't have that, and like I don't have time to explain my life to you. Like, you should know about all of this already. Like, I quote Bollywood films like this. Now, if I quote and you're like, "Huh, what?" I'm like, "Chodo bhai."
Yeah. It's funny because there's people always remind me of this is in the first 20, 21 years of your life, you've ideally already met the person that you're going to end up with. He reminds me of this the most. And I'm like, bro, I'm 25. मुझे नहीं लगता कि ये हुआ है अभी.
Oh, I don't. Is that a thing though? Like they say this.
Statistically, it's a thing. I think it's 90%, 80 or 90% of people have met that
In
person.
India, everyone gets married at 18, 20, like the mass. Maybe that's why.
वो कैप पहुंचते ही नहीं, वो पहले ही कर देते हैं.
That's only for that India. This is not for us.
No.
What's your relationship with your friends, and how has that changed as your career has progressed from something very, very linear, very stable to something that's so erratic? I met one of your very, very good friends a couple of weeks ago.
What do you mean?
I met Nahita.
Oh,
And
sweet.
shout out. She had some amazing things to say about you. But I'm sure that as you go from stable life to very erratic life, you also need friends who implicitly understand that your life is crazy and that you won't be able to give them the same amount of time anymore.
Yeah.
And those are the friends that will stick long term. But how has your relationship changed with them?
That, and also like as you become famous and as you become big,
How they behave.
how like do people around you change a lot? Like how is that?
So I'm so grateful that my friends have been the same since day zero. There has been zero change in their behavior towards me. In fact, if there's a behavior change, like they have started treating me with more disgust, if at all. And I love it because it's so humbling and then it's so grounded. Because when I go to Bombay, I'm surrounded by actors and cricketers and people in the industry, which is new, and that can shake me, that can change me. I'm living a life that a few people dream about living, so it could be delusional. But coming back home to these people, it brings me back, and it's great. Like, in fact, I've also said this on other shows where I'm at the airport or I'm at a restaurant and these people come to take pictures or they're talking to me, and my friends are just looking with disgust and why are you talking to? You don't know. He puts coconut oil in her hair and she will, like, they're just trying to, like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
I love it. I am very happy they do that with me. So no, their behavior from me to being successful hasn't changed at all. And when it comes to time, I think everyone's matured enough to kind of realize that we've grown and we don't have as much time as we did earlier. And everyone's struggling for time. Everyone's working, everyone's become busy, everyone's getting married. So it's saddening to see, because you want to go back to where you were earlier, right? You want to live those college lives where you were meeting your friends every day and you were just chilling and stuff. But everyone makes time. So that's the good thing. Like when you really want it and we are in the city after so long, you will make the time.
I had a very, very interesting conversation to this context. Friends, great. I think having those day zero friends and to maintain those relationships will override any other relationship you ever have in your life.
Yeah.
And that's special and rare. Yesterday I was talking to our other best friend about this. He's in entertainment as well. About how when you make it, people re-emerge that have not been in your life for the last 10-15 years, and they're like, dude, I knew you'd make it. But nobody's been there walking with you. They've just been there when you reach the destination.
Yeah.
You now have a very large platform with what you do. Not only on social media, but even now, the shows you're doing. Are you seeing a lot of that happen in your life? And how do you navigate that? Because I'm sure there's just so much of it. Yeah. And you're inundated.
There's this, some interview I saw where a cricketer said is, if your phone wasn't ringing when you're at your lowest, don't pick it up when you're finally successful. And that was so true. Like the people who are not calling you when you were struggling or going through those hours of work, and then suddenly your phone is ringing when you're suddenly successful, are not the people who are ever going to be there for you. So suddenly now I'm getting a lot of people who had lost complete contact with me or haven't made an effort to talk, or even I have also honestly not. Like friends of parents and all, and asking for congratulations, asking for favors and stuff like that. And these are people who I was friends with. It's not new people. I understand new people because, I mean, we don't know too much of each other, right? But old people who lost touch and then coming back, why now?
Mhm.
You know, so that's a little hurtful as well. And I remember telling my close friends, like, you know, this girl hadn't spoken to me all these years, and now because she has a fashion label, she wants me to wear her clothes. I will do it. But for those 5 years, we didn't talk, we didn't meet. And I remember once I'd invited her for my party also, and she didn't come. So it's like, why are you doing it now? So it is sad. Because, but then I make buckets. This comes into transactional relationships. And sometimes transactional relationships are important because then I see it not from a friend's point of view, but from a work point of view. And I feel Bombay has a lot of transactions.
Of course.
A lot. That's why I love Delhi so much. Because Delhi, whoever you meet, of course, Delhi has a lot
I
of
don't think Delhi
networking.
has it. Yeah.
But everyone's there for you at any time. Like at 3 a.m., if I'm stuck somewhere and I met a person once, I can call that person and think, can you please come and pick me up? They'll be there.
Well, that's because your closest friends are here. If your closest friends were in Bombay, then you would say that about Bombay. Na?
No, in Bombay, no, these are people who have met new. Okay, for example, I
Oh,
met
acha,
someone
okay.
last year, maybe
Yeah.
met them twice. If I'm stuck 3 a.m. somewhere and I call the same person, they will come for me. I feel like there is a lot of heart in Delhi when it comes to these kind of relationships, even if they're transactional.
Mhm.
In Bombay, transactional relationships are only transactional. Like there's no buddy that you can, even if I call them at 3 a.m., they'll like not pick up or like figure out something. I've experienced it, so I really feel that.
I think those 3 a.m. friends are rare. There's a beautiful saying where it's people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Oh my god, yes.
And those are just three buckets that you do live by.
Right.
The lifetime friends are absolutely the greatest you'll ever have.
Yeah.
But you have to appreciate the other two for the reason that they have come into your life. And there's always a purpose, and it's okay if it's short lived.
Yeah.
The
Because
lifetime ones are not always the greatest you'll ever have. Ask me, I'm putting up with this.
no, lifetime friends are the best. Like they're family. So in fact, I don't have any siblings. But whenever I see like a sibling quote or like a book or any reel about siblings, I send it to my best friends. Like you are my brothers and sisters. Who
Yeah, that's what I send him my bro reels.
Yeah.
And I have a sister. But I still.
So that's what it happens. And last night, I was at the Sangeet in Delhi, and I was driving back. But Delhi being Delhi, they forced some shots in me, and I was like, shit, I can't drive. But I was so okay being there at night because I knew someone 100% is going to drive me back. It is. I don't even need to ask.
Yeah.
And 4 guys said, we'll sort you out, and I had no worries. In Bombay, if this happened, I'll be like, it's a safe city, I can figure out on my own. But I would not have these people. Even if my closest friends were there, I would and they are. I have very, very thick friends there. I would still think twice. Yeah, that's that.
What's the one message that you're hoping to leave being an actor?
Being an actor. I haven't really thought of that message, but I think not only being an actor, but in one lifetime, I think can wear multiple hats and play different roles. Because growing up, the fact that I do different things as growing up, I've heard a lot of teachers say in school that she's distracted, or she's not focusing on one thing, or you have to do this in order to be successful in life, and that really irked me. I had multiple interests, like why can't I explore all of them? So that's the thing that I wish people understand, and parents eventually, that in that one lifetime you can play many roles and still be very successful in it. Out of juggling.
If you had to leave everyone watching this, kids in their 20s, with one piece of advice on how to navigate all of your interests and really find something that you want to do,
Yeah.
what would that be?
2 things. First, create a foundation of that thing that you want to pursue. Just because you want it doesn't mean you're well equipped for it. So and this goes mainly for education as well, because there are a lot of young people who are just getting into content creation because it seems very lucrative, dropping out from school, not having a backup, never doing a job. So again, like I want to reiterate, create a good foundation for yourself and then start taking decisions and picking up opportunities based on that. And second is, once that's done, my favorite line that I live my life by: if you never try, you'll never know. If there's an opportunity, I think instead of thinking too much about it, give it a shot. If it works out, hallelujah, amazing. If it doesn't, quit. Go to the next one. So it's like that.
That's a beautiful message.
Thanks.
Thank you. Build a foundation, keep learning, wear multiple hats. Life has a lot to offer, and keep watching Panoramic Perspectives. We love you guys. Also, make sure to follow Sahiba, watch her shows. She's a killer. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
Astrology is not real.